At its core, the American Republic has always been an uneasy balance of unity and division, of national cohesion and local autonomy. The Founding Fathers designed a system of governance that reflected their own experiences with centralized rule, ensuring that power would be distributed between federal and state governments. Yet, from the moment the ink dried on the Constitution, tensions over sovereignty, representation, and governance have simmered beneath the surface. While the United States has endured multiple existential crises, including a brutal civil war, economic depressions, and ideological conflicts, the question remains: how stable is the Union, and at what point does dissatisfaction transform into a push for structural change? Throughout American history, movements for autonomy, self-governance, or outright secession have periodically surged, often in response to perceived federal overreach or economic disparity. From the South's rebellion in the Civil War to more symbolic acts like Key West's Conch Republic Declaration, these moments reveal a fundamental truth about the American experiment. The Republic is not, and has never been, a monolithic entity. Rather, it is a constantly evolving system, where discontent manifests in waves of reform, resistance, and, at times, calls for dissolution. The 21st century presents new and unique challenges that have reignited these historical tensions. Growing partisan polarization, economic inequalities between regions, and debates over federal authority have deepened ideological divides, creating an environment where discussions of state sovereignty or structural political change are no longer confined to the fringes. The rise of nationalist, separatist, and independence movements across the country, including Texas nationalist groups, Californian partition advocates, and Hawaiian sovereignty activists, underscores a broader sentiment that the existing framework may no longer serve all Americans equally. But how did we arrive at this point? What are the underlying causes of this dissatisfaction? And how do they relate to the deeper historical roots of American governance? The evolution of discontent. Discontent in the United States has rarely been sudden or spontaneous. Rather, it grows from seeds planted over decades, sometimes centuries. Economic disparities between regions, shifts in demographic and political power, and cultural identity conflicts all contribute to the current climate of division. For example, the divide between urban and rural America, once merely a difference in lifestyle, has now hardened into a stark political and ideological fault line. Similarly, debates over the role of the federal government in issues such as taxation, regulation, and civil rights have long been flashpoints for conflict, with some regions feeling overruled by a distant and unrepresentative central authority. This struggle is not unique to the United States. It mirrors patterns seen in other historical and contemporary political structures. From the dissolution of the Soviet Union to the ongoing tensions within the European Union, nations and federations around the world have faced moments where governance structures have been called into question. The key difference in the American context, however, is the constitutional foundation upon which these debates unfold. Unlike other political entities, the U.S. Constitution has built-in mechanisms, such as Article V's amendment process, that allow for the legal reconsideration of the nation's structure. The question then becomes, are Americans willing to engage in these processes, or has polarization made reform impossible without more radical measures? From theory to reality, understanding rebooting. The concept of rebooting the Republic is not synonymous with destruction or abandonment of the current system. Rather, it is a framework for examining whether the structure of American governance is still suited for the challenges of the modern world. It asks whether constitutional reforms, greater regional autonomy, or even the potential subdivision of certain states could alleviate the grievances that fuel movements of discontent. This book does not advocate for any single solution, but instead seeks to analyze the legal, historical, and political precedents that shape the current discourse on sovereignty, governance, and self-determination. The following chapters will trace the ideological and constitutional roots of these discussions, examining how federal and state power have evolved since the founding era. Through case studies ranging from Texas to Puerto Rico, from California to Alaska, we will explore how different regions within the U.S. have confronted the tensions of governance, autonomy, and identity. By doing so, we hope to uncover whether the current union can be recalibrated to address modern grievances, or if deeper structural changes are inevitable. As we embark on this journey, we must ask ourselves, what defines a successful republic? Is it an unbreakable bond between its states, or is it the ability to adapt and evolve in response to the will of its people? The answers to these questions may determine the future of the United States as we know it.